Hello everyone, welcome to another video on this channel. Today I'm here to bring you a fantastic series talking about Jesus, because in the days we live in today, we really need the teachings of this great millennial therapist. If we all take the knowledge that he brought us when he was incarnated on this earth, and we bring this to today in 2025 and carry it forward, you can be sure that if you follow all the videos that will come in the sequence of the recordings, you will understand that certain teachings that Jesus shared make a big difference, even for today's days. As you can see on your screen, Jesus is a great master therapist, helper, millennial for today's days, bringing us one of the greatest antidotes to end suffering, scarcity, and especially the lack of love in all aspects of life. In other words, folks, when we stop to think about everything the world is going through today, everything we are experiencing in the world, in today's world, all the evil, everything, especially the lack of money, the lack of love, the lack of self-love, everything that is missing, all of that brings us immense suffering. Jesus, long time ago, if we count back to 2025, which is the year we are living in today, Jesus was already bringing teachings from way back that many people simply in 25 years haven't learned anything from this. Some, of course, excluding a minority, let's say, but the vast majority, people today do not carry his teachings forward. That's why many times we end up having a lot of scarcity in all aspects of life, be it love, be it affection, be it with yourself, be it in your financial field, be it in all, literally, the aspects of life, including the most important of all, which is spirituality. His time on earth was intrinsically about teaching the process of the evolution of souls and all the divine sparks, your fractals, or simply children with the help of the higher self, our divine self, also known as the Holy Spirit, which dwells within us. We are heirs of this celestial kingdom, like our beloved brother, Master Jesus, also known as Yeshua. In other words, all of us who have a spiritual calling, all of us who have a divine spark, we have within our soul a fractal of this great God. And many times we think that we are nothing, that we are nobody. And unfortunately, in the society we live in the world we live in, more and more people treat us like we are just little bags of poop. But no, if we are children of God, it's like I've said in other videos, we are indeed heirs of this great God that we have. And he cohabits within us. The only thing missing for all of us is to understand that the solutions to our problems are really inside us. We just need to look inside ourselves for all the answers. The answers are always within us. But human beings have the flaw of wanting to seek that outside. The human being, he wants to seek the answer in others, in the neighbor, in the little friend, whether in material things. But he ends up not looking inside himself and understanding that God is within him. When you feel him here inside your heart chakra, when you truly connect with him, you feel that matter, how much we are. In a condition, let's say, of wanderers, even so, we always have his presence intrinsically. So, what I'm here to teach you is to start noticing how you can work with your higher self, with the help of that higher self, with this divine self that we are. Because if God is divine, we are also children of the divine, and we are gods just like him. Did you understand? So I want you to understand that we all have a very important role here on earth. Even when you're making mistakes, even when you're getting things right, God knows exactly what our weak points are, our points stronger, and that doesn't matter because God does too. When He was in His creation mode, when He was creating this entire universe, creating all the galaxies, creating every form of life, He was also doing His own tests. So we are all here self-testing, experimenting, trying things out. Sometimes we try sweet things, sometimes we try salty things. There are things we don't like. I, for example, don't like sour things, right? But we all have our own uniqueness, like fractals, as part of this Father. So understand that we are all parents of one God. We all together are one. Your earthly mission was like a beacon to illuminate and guide us to overcome the daily challenges, like illusions, pain, suffering, lack of affection, slavery, selfishness, hatred, and so many other themes that we will address here on this channel, bringing such ancient teachings for us to put into practice and live life in a lighter way. In other words, everything that evolves and everything that moves in this universe, if we stop to think, nothing on this earth is truly still. Everything moves, everything has its shape, everything has its flow, and everything has its vibration. And through this principle, everything takes shape according to what the heart emanates, whether it's realities of love, peace, abundance, or difficulties, problems, and constant negativity. When Jesus was here on earth, He tried in every way to teach us that we can overcome our adversities. Yes, easily in day-to-day life. If we look back to the era He lived in, the way life was back then, even knowing everything He was going to suffer, He was dealing with the lack of affection. He was also dealing with slavery, with what that people were going through at that moment. So everything that moves in the universe, if we stop to think about it, nothing is still. Everything is always in motion. You can observe, you cut the grass in your garden, and after a week, for sure it will have already grown. You didn't need to do anything, but because there is movement, it starts to grow. For sure it will have already grown. You didn't have to do anything, but as there is movement, it starts to grow. So everything has a flow, everything has a vibration. So when we emanate love within ourselves, if I am full of love, love begins to come to me because I am resonating with love, because my energy is vibrating. Love comes to me because I'm vibrating in love. But when we vibrate hate, then you will only attract people. Hateful people come close to you. When you vibrate in abundance, when you stop thinking, oh, I have to pay this bill. Oh, why do I have to do this? Oh, why do I have to do that? When I stop thinking about problems and start thinking about solutions, the solutions come to me. Because it's a law of attraction. I throw it out to the universe. The problem, so there comes a moment when I start throwing it out. There, many times I keep throwing it out. Problem, I need to pay a bill, I need this, that. And I keep throwing it out. And then at some point this will come back to me. This will come back. Several problems. And then what happens? Every time a problem comes back to me, I end up having negative energy. If I'm vibrating negatively, abundance, prosperity, and peace won't come. There's no way for abundance to come. There's no way for prosperity to come. There's no way for peace to come to me because I'm resonating with the problem. I'm not going to have peace. So from the moment we all stop to think that everything that's vibrating around us about our lives, about ourselves, we are the only ones responsible. There is no devil and there is no God to be there punishing you, chastising you. Why do certain people vibrate with faith, vibrate with love? They vibrate with compassion when they vibrate with empathy. Why do these people receive so much mercy here in the world? Why? What did they do to deserve that? So, this isn't about which era we live in or which era Jesus lived in. This has to do with what we desire and how we learn to deal with these lessons. For example, when a child puts their little fingers in the socket, we know they're going to get shocked. So, after she felt that something went wrong, she won't do it again. So, humans need to start learning that every time you resonate negatively, when you emit negative energy, I'm angry, I want to destroy because the world is this, because politics is that. Okay? We already know what's bad. We don't need to keep verbalizing, attracting things to us, because words, speaking is a vibration. You're sending out a vibrational wave, and that wave goes out just like the sea. It goes back and forth. Life is like that. That's why we have to learn that no matter how difficult Jesus' life was here, he was always man who taught us that there is always a solution for everything. For those who studied the Bible, for those who know a bit about the story of Jesus, all of his disciples had problems. Everyone, without exception, Jesus always knew how to deal with all of them. About their problems, being a therapist, being a great master, being a great teacher, and those who truly managed to listen to what Jesus taught, to what Jesus said. They were indeed the most blessed. And Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart. And you will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Is this in chapter of Matthew 11, in verses 28 to 30. So folks, it's pretty clear what Jesus is trying to say. We are all tired. It's obvious we are all overwhelmed. It's obvious that we are carrying a burden, a monstrously big one. Of course, we are. Why? Because our lives are always in a constant struggle, and it's a struggle against ourselves. So when Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest." In other words, start seeking spiritual strength, start seeking self-compassion. What else did Jesus teach us here that people haven't realized yet, even today, is that we to have compassion for ourselves. The biggest karmas we create are not even against others, but much more against ourselves. 90%, 95%. And look, there are people incarnated here who don't even reach 100%. I know people who live their lives in such a painful way, so painful, because they chose this life of suffering. And folks, what can we do? So, it's about looking within our souls, looking inside ourselves, seeking self-love, finding peace within us, silencing the mind, and listening to our hearts. How many of you who are watching me listen to your intuitions every day? How many of you who are watching me, do you look at yourself every day? It's very easy. Many times we tend to look more at others than at ourselves. So, what I want to say with that, it's not that you have to be selfish or egocentric people. No, none of that. What I'm trying to say is that to the same extent that you give to others, give to yourself. So, we have to live life in a much lighter way, starting from our hearts. When you look inside yourself, when you start to see your needs, what do I need? What do I need at this moment? What makes me happy? What brings me happiness? Really, you're just looking out there. Are you only looking at the car you want to achieve? Are you just looking at the house you covet? Are you looking at a handbag, at a makeup set? Expitok, stum hubbub. What are you vibrating? What are you wishing for? Have you started to look at yourself in a way that doesn't attach added values to money? What are you seeing in terms of self-worth? When Jesus says like this, there in the verse, let me go back here on the screen. Learn from me, learn from him. He is gentle and humble in heart, meaning he is humble because he doesn't need so many things from the world. Material. There are other things that fill a person's life that aren't tangible. For example, who among you is a father or a mother? Do you have parents? Who has siblings? Who has pets? So I ask you, how much is the life of these people worth? How much does it cost you to lose these people? It's an invaluable value. There's no price that can pay for the life of those we love, of those we want by our side. So understand that this feeling is called love, and it's right there inside you. And you have plenty of that for those you choose. And when do you start to have that same love for yourself? And you start to see your own worth, but with humility, like Jesus had here on earth. And what was he? Gentle. Why? When Jesus went through those moments when they wanted to take his life, what did he do? Many times he wouldn't even argue just to avoid escalating things further. Because people, when they're stressed, are nervous. Many times you say, okay, I need to get out, I need to walk, I need to drive, I need to do something because I'm not feeling well. That's why it's necessary. We need to calm our minds. Let the heat of our emotions cool down so that we can then hear the voice of reason. But we can only do this when we silence ourselves. So, we have to look within ourselves for what brings us a point of balance. For example, when you argue with someone, sometimes you end up saying things you often end up offending because you're there in anger in the heat of the moment. So many times we have to calm down and then talk like, wow, why did I say that? If I could go back in time, I wouldn't say such things. I wouldn't have hurt, because words can't be taken back. So many times we need to silence ourselves so that we become gentler and also more humble. Let's keep following Ali. Love is always the energy that lifts us up, that makes us better, wiser, and more compassionate. Love is the starting point and the destination. It's the path taken and the goal to be achieved. Because all pain is temporary. But love is always eternal. We can observe that such a feeling is so true and absolute that when we pass on, we only find friends, siblings, family, pets, because love is something so powerful that it transcends time, space, and materialism. So we realize that the writing I put there is very clear. I think this serves as a lesson for many people who are listening to me right now. At this moment, all things here on earth are fleeting. It passes. It's temporary. Everything is temporary. But the only thing that truly transcends time, space, and dimensions is love. That's exactly why we only reunite with those people we truly love. So much so that many times it can happen that you are here on earth and you have a deceased loved one who is sometimes right there by your side. Why? Because he loves you, because he wants to be with you, he misses you, he feels the need to be close to that person he cares so much about. So the only thing we have here, in this dimension, here in 3D, the only thing we have that is truly powerful is love. People don't understand. Sometimes people work themselves to death. People make their God money. And when a person passes away, they will understand the great I, the big illusion they lived. Because we are souls and we are immortal. What are you going to take with you? From knowledge, what wisdom are you going to take with you? What power are you going to take from here? Because wisdom is a power. It allows us to have a much better life. When you are wise, it's harder for you to make mistakes. And then when you pass away, you end up realizing that you were trapped in a control matrix, just thinking about money, just thinking about materialism. So that's why I'm here to tell you, love is the only thing that is truly real. It's the only thing that transcends everything. That's why I'm making these videos for you, so you can become aware that every time we only think about the problem, only about scarcity, it comes to us. Start thinking about everything with love. Start by being grateful for the food you have. Start by being grateful for the roof over your head. Start being grateful for everything, for the clothes you wear. Start being grateful for everything that exists in your existence, in your life. Thank your parents. They may not have been the best, but they did the most important thing, which was to bring the gift of life. So, what I'm here to teach you is to really value everything you have. People, sometimes I'll give an example here to further elaborate on this point. I know people who often say things like this, I don't like this house I live in. Instead of being grateful for the roof she has to keep the rain off her head, it's much worse. The one who is on the street, it's much worse for someone who is in a situation where they have nowhere to go. So, everything she has, she's vibrating in scarcity. She's complaining about everything, complaining, crying out to go backward. In other words, when this person starts to complain even about the house she has that she's dissatisfied with, she's vibrating in scarcity, and that's attracting more scarcity to her. It's going to start breaking the machine. It's going to start causing problems in the plumbing. It's going to start causing electrical problems, and it's going to get worse and worse. In a vortex of going back and forth, it goes into loss, 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 waste, 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 waste. Everything becomes a mess. Everything she has inside her house, she won't be satisfied with because she doesn't like that place. Why? Because she has ingratitude, which is the opposite of gratitude. I'm not grateful for what I have. I don't value what I have. So, the universe is going to keep giving me the worst because I vibrate negatively. Instead of just thanking, I thank God. I thank the universe for the house I have, but I also thank for the better house I will one day have. When a person starts to become grateful, they think, wow, the universe thinks like this. Let's help this person because this person has been humble. It's what Jesus said. He is humble, he is gentle, exactly what people don't do today. Everything. They complain. Everything is bad. Everything is a mess. They complain with full bellies. We only value our lives and everything we have when we're lying on a hospital bed, when we're facing a life-threatening illness, when we see a child or a loved one are sick, then a person sees where the true value of life lies, which is not in material possessions. Still, unfortunately, we see cases of parents who often do not value their children, wanting to exploit them because of their egocentrism. There are parents who use their children as if they were their slaves. In fact, in Brazil, there are many children who end up asking for or selling candies at traffic lights, in the streets, just like that. And love has been lost. And everything we do eventually comes back to us. Everything we do for others comes back to us. So we have to understand that love has to be for others and for ourselves. It's a line of balance. If we don't balance the two things, we won't have a prosperous life. We have to wish for others in the same measure that we wish for ourselves. Many people too, because I deal daily with the public, with all kinds of people you can imagine. Unfortunately, we live in an era that can't take it anymore. Not even Gaia's own consciousness can take it anymore. But we are going to read the next one that you will understand where I want to get to. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. Do not boast. It does not boast, does not mistreat, does not seek its own interests. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. So, faith, hope, and love will remain forever. And the greatest of them all is love. How many of you watching me have faith? Because when you have faith, it's very easy to say, oh, I have faith. There is. Do you really? So, if you are extremely fearful people, what is faith? It's to believe. So, don't worry about your bills anymore. Don't worry about the harm your neighbor does to others. Don't worry about how others live. Start believing in yourself, in your abilities. That way you won't envy. It says there, do not envy. And when you achieve something, you won't boast. So, understand that with each passing day, we go on living in a routine, just like always, to take the faith out of us, to never believe. At best, never believe that you will win. Never believe, oh, I'm never going to be happy in love. If you don't have faith and you don't believe that you deserve love, if I vibrate in a way, oh no, I don't deserve love, I don't deserve it. Oh no, love isn't for me because I've had a lot of disappointments. Are you loving yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, you don't resonate with love. So you see, love doesn't come to you either. When you don't resonate with faith, I believe that it will happen. I believe that I will achieve such a thing. I believe that I will reach such a goal. When you believe and you have faith within you, I believe that it will happen. It ends up happening. How many of you talk like this? Ouch! Damn, the moment I opened my mouth for such a thing, and bam, it happened. Why? Exactly. Because you predicted it, you felt it, you released an energy, a vibrational wave. What kind of possibility can happen? So it ended up happening because you resonated with that. It went out and that wave came back to you and bam, it happened. When you vibrate a lot in fear that people will betray you, you can bet you will be betrayed. When you believe, say, I'm not going to do such a thing because I'm afraid I'll be robbed. If you do it out of fear, fear will bring the thief to rob you. That's exactly how it's going to happen. Then he says that hope and faith go hand in hand. Okay? have faith that everything will work out. But things aren't going to happen overnight. They don't happen automatically, but I have a little bit of hope every day. Today, for example, here where you are seeing is the upper part of my apartment. So all of this is my universe. It's just that this is where my things are. So when I wish for something, I start to give thanks. I thank for such a thing that I'm going to receive, but that is not yet in my hands. Automatically, after a few days or weeks, but in a very short period of time, the more I talk, the faster it comes to me. Why? Because I'm already giving thanks, because we often don't see it physically, but energetically. If you are vibrating, you are calling it to you. You are calling, come, 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 come to you. Let's move on to the next one. The sale of Yeshua to the world, it was solely and exclusively to pass on knowledge to us and for us to learn through our mistakes. Due to the great personal and collective karmas that humanity had, and it still exists to this day. If we stop to think about what exists in today's world, lack of love in all spheres, causing conflict between nations, families, people in every general aspect, bringing hatred, oppression, illusion, unless they chose in some way to go through this life in a more peaceful way, choosing to learn more from other incarnated spirits that left their evolutionary messages here on earth for your societies while alive. Like, for example, we have the Dalai Lama, Jesus Christ, Osho, Buddha, Helena Blavatsky, Chico Xavier, and many others. What I usually say, I usually call them Maitreya's. That's more theosophy, a topic for later. So, at every moment, God has so much mercy. What does he do like this? Look, little ones, now I'm going to send Jesus there to teach you some things. So since you guys don't learn, I'm going to send Buddha now. He brings updates, people, ascended masters, and teachers. So that in each era, in each time, in each period of time, as humanity evolves, they learn to deal with their own self in a broader way. As humanity evolves, so they learn to deal with their own self in a broader way, to deal with the difficulties we face here in the third dimension, with your own self in a broader way, to deal with the difficulties we face here in the third dimension. So when I say that Yeshua is Jesus, he really comes to talk about these mistakes we make. That's why in this odyssey of videos that I'm going to record for you, I'm going to talk about these teachings. I'm starting to talk now that the fundamental basis of Jesus, the core of everything that encompasses Jesus, is that he always speaks of love. He always came to bring mercy. While the Bible talks about a part of a God that is more, it's different. He is a God of the Old Testament, different from the God of the New Testament, different from the God that Jesus preaches. Okay, so there will be some little parts that I'm going to share about theology for you as I go through the videos. Okay, all right. So we have here what we see the most in today's world. Right, I'm doing the reading here. Conflict between nations, people, families, hatred, oppression, illusion, and all these men, all these people who have passed, what do they have in common? What did Chico Xavier have? What does the Dalai Lama have? What do Osho, Buddha, and Jesus have in common? Meekness, love for others, compassion, love for themselves because people never abused them because they had self-love. So, in a simple, gentle way, he is what Jesus said in that other verse I read to you, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, because he is gentle, because he is humble." That's what they all have, and a lot of love and a lot of compassion, not only to others, but also to yourself. That's why the verse says, "You shall love your neighbor, comma," but it puts a huge comma there, comma, "as you love yourself." In other words, love yourself first, tune your frequency to love, and then you'll be full of that love so you can share it, so you can give it away. To give to whoever you want, right? Let's move on to the next one. We live in a matrix of fantastical realities, behind glass screens, instead of feeling the earth beneath our feet, feeling nature in our daily lives. Contrary to what this world preaches, we are not separate from nature. We are indeed a part of it. Who hasn't felt the sensation of renewal after a swim in the sea or a walk through the woods? An example is when we are on vacation. Many of us feel the need to clear our minds, balance our emotions, and rest. Not just our physical body. The first option is to be in wooded areas with lots of vegetation, or on beaches, or even up in the mountains. That's exactly what Jesus did during his pilgrimage. After spending a whole day teaching his audience, he would take a retreat of 2 to 3 days in nature, renewing your vital energies and your energetic cleansing, including fasting and prayer, which is meditation. Yeah. Who likes to enjoy their vacation and go out into nature? Raise your hand. Exactly that, because when we go to contextualize, and later on I'm going to make videos about cosmogony, and then you will understand exactly these processes that we all have within ourselves, related to nature, to stones, the plant life. I will talk more about these plant kingdoms, the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom. So further ahead, I will be talking about these other themes. Now, I want you to understand that when we have our mind, when you can't see a solution, when you're overwhelmed by situations that are making your mind feel this big, with a head full of thoughts, it's precisely in those moments that we need to stop and cool down. Whenever I can, especially nature, when I'm in sessions, sometimes, no matter how cold it is, it's really cold here right now. I'm bundled up because it's so cold. But still, today, when I had sessions, I placed my feet on the grass, on the earth. I needed to ground myself. I needed to exchange that energy with Gaia. I needed to renew my energies because I'm also in a phase of transition. A year has started. Planetary 9, so it's a year of many changes, and it's just begun, folks. We're still on the 6th. This video will be released for you tomorrow on the 7th. But there's an explosion of things happening all at the same time. And that's why I know this is the moment I need nature the most. A few days ago, there was a lot of rain here and a lot of wind. And on the day it was windy, I took the opportunity to let that wind in. I left nature. I didn't hide from it. I went to nature. How many of you, when you were kids, didn't love playing in the rain? It was delightful. It's a different energy. How many of us have given up on living these things? Good, right? So, what I want to tell you, that Jesus was already teaching this back then. A long time ago, with his own actions, he showed us that we have our time to have our purpose. But we also need to have our time. We need to empty out emotions, thoughts, everything. And when do you hear the silence of your soul and connects with the scent of the sea, with the smell of the leaves of nature? When you allow yourself to breathe that pure air Obviously, that's why every time we have a little time and need to rest, we rush to nature. Because this is instinctive to human beings. We are rational animals. So, do need nature. We do need to return to our roots. So take this tip from what Jesus did, that he worked a lot. Working with healing isn't easy, requires a lot of physical energy. And speaking about physicality, the third dimension, it's very difficult. A human body, 3, vibrate, sometimes 7, 8 up there. So the 3 here, if you use this too much, I'll put 7 here, and I keep using this 3 directly. It's going to burn out, it's going to explode, it won't hold up. So that's why Jesus would take days to clear his mind. You need to empty out everything you go through all week at your job, especially people who work with others. Those who work with the public are the ones who need to do their energy cleanses the most. Okay? It's the silencing. Listen to a mantra, say a prayer, and be grateful for everything you have. Start to enter the meditative state of what you desire. Listen to the beats of your heart. Do some mindfulness. I'm going to bring you a lot more of these techniques in the future. It's just that there's a lot of content. There's so much to share with you. So it has to be little by little. So take this tip and let's move on to the next one. Despite the various titles, names, and ways of understanding Jesus, I believe the best way is to recognize him as a humble brother. In the higher planes of existence, there is no greater or lesser. Titles that place people on thrones and commands to be followed. Or spiritual forms so great that they cannot be accessed. In the light, we are all brothers, contributing with their respective roles for the greater good of all, with a lot of light, charity, and love among everyone. In other words, Jesus being fractal of Sananda, of consciousness, Sananda, ascending the hierarchy, reaching up to Mika, which was fractalizing until it reached Jesus here, even being who he was, at no moment did he have pride or exalt himself. He always said, in the name of his Father, in the name of God, in the name of the Creator. So we can see, yes, that Jesus, with all the power he had to heal lepers, to heal possessed people, paraplegics, and so on, all the spiritual work he did here, all this extra dimensional power. The extra 3D power he had and that he manifested here, even so, he had humility. So, when you are a religious leader, when you are someone who wants to work with spirituality, when you are at your job, pride never will lead you to the best path, because today you are good at what you do. Today you are the boss, but no one is irreplaceable. It will never lead you to the best path, because today you are good at what you do. Today you are the boss, but no one is irreplaceable. So tomorrow someone better than you will come. So have humility. Learn from this master who was a great teacher, a great therapist. If you start to observe every little thing that Jesus did and you take that inside of you, you will definitely become a much better person. A person much wiser, a person much gentler, humble. And you can be sure, as the Bible says, right? The humble will inherit the kingdom of heaven. So, here's a tip for all of us. We all need to have humility. We all have a little bit of that God, that divine within us. So, just because Paula sees the spiritual world and talks to spirits, that doesn't make me better than you. All the knowledge I have from almost 40 years, it doesn't matter. Someone who has less experience can come and know much more than I do. No one is better than anyone. When it is said there that many times they say that great and very high spiritual forces cannot be accessed, that is wrong. That's inconsistent. On the contrary, if I have a divine fractal within me, it makes me a demigod, and that gives me access to God. It gives me access to the highest hierarchy. If God is my Father, then I can't even talk to an angel who is a hierarchy below him. Oh, because I am a child of God, the Most High who created everything, all things, the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. But I can't access Miguel Archangel, I can't access Metatron, I can't access Taurisha, I can't access Oxala, I can't access any other elevated force, any other higher consciousness. That doesn't exist. It's what the matrix is. That's what the government is. The cult puts it in your heads. If we are children of God, we can do all things. Just believe, just have faith, and for sure love yourself. I am a child of God. Feel your heart. I am a child of God. Everything that is straight, everything that is just, everything that is pure, everything that is true comes to me because I will resonate that to the world as well. And then you will see that the great divinity that you are, you will achieve great accomplishments. Here's another example I'm going to give you. Like, for example, does one spirit have more brightness or light than another? Does that spirit have more light or brightness than you? Or is a certain person more evolved than us? Or vice versa? When you feel that kind of feeling that separates, that diminishes someone, instead of uniting, evolving, and loving, embrace and shine. Realize that it's just a negative movement aimed at separation instead of unity. One thing we learn from angels, orishas, guides, and mentors is that there is no separation between the beliefs and religions of this world. Spiritual plan, folks, it doesn't matter what branch you believe in. It doesn't matter what the doctrines of what you follow are. All paths lead to the same point. There's no other way. All paths lead to the same point. There's no other way. Everything started with God's love in creating everything, and everything will only end when it returns to this love of God. When everything returns to Him, then imagine God was a gigantic source of love and a creator, and then He fractalized. It's like He had a big explosion. Imagine it was fireworks. Imagine it was rockets, as they say here in Portugal. It exploded. Several little pieces, several fractals. And these fractals are us too, because we receive 100th part of Him. So all of this came from Him. So, as all of this returns to Him, and it only returns, you only turn back to God if you are vibrating in love. When you co-create everything with love, you are playing the same role as God. Everything you do with love, you are doing just like God created. So, all of us, we are part of everything. That doesn't mean that Umbanda is wrong, that Candomblé is wrong, that Buddhism is wrong. All of them. I searched for many years. It was exactly that, to understand why each culture, each religion is different. One of the reasons why there are so many, I was about to say the wrong word here. There are so many conflicts out there on the planet, one country against another, clashing. Why? Because of religious war. But in reality, it's foolishness, because they all worship the same God. We are all in search of the same God. He's the only guy who created all of this. There's no reason for us to want to fight because my God is better than yours. that doesn't exist. As long as it is vibrating in love, compassion, sincerity, and especially in respect, you can be sure that you are on the right path to the divine, to evolution. You are in the highest sephira we have in Kabbalah. You are vibrating in Keter, okay? Let's move on to the next one. As life evolves in this world, and the earth ascends to more subtle vibrational planes, humanity begins to connect with its divine self, with the Creator, where the presence of religions, gods, and forms of deities is no longer necessary to fulfill this need for connection with God. Because when you vibrate in love, God is naturally present, fulfilling this need for connection with God. Because when you vibrate in love, God is naturally present. And it doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter our mistakes, our failures. Because for God, this is so fleeting. Even though we have infinite incarnations, He simply waits for us. Coming back to Him, that is, yes, when you connect with your divine self, your divine self. It's when you look up, it's when you're vibrating high, you're reaching for something greater. When you are angry, when you are in rage, when you are thinking about your materialism, you are looking down, you are looking at the things of the earth, you are looking at the earth, you are looking at the density, you are looking at what is going to stay here on this earth. You're looking down. When you're seeking spirituality for yourself, when you're trying to discover who you really are, why you came here, you didn't come here to make money and become rich, only to die and leave millions to your children. You come with a soul inside a body, not a body that has a soul. It's the opposite. What is the mission of this soul? If she's not going to take all her material possessions to the other side, then what is she going to do here? Because of time? No. Something she learned. She learned something. That's why many times we're going to have many, many, and many, many. I can tell you that I have more than 2,000 incarnations here on this planet. Why? And still God continues to believe my improvement. God expects me to return by the same path I left Him and to come back along that path to Him. So it doesn't matter what religion you follow, it doesn't matter the path you take. What matters is that you have your God, your Creator, the part of you that is your Father. It's your Creator. When we talk about the Holy Spirit represents the feminine aspect of God. Co-creation, which here on earth is the presence of the Holy Spirit. This is the feminine part of the masculine. The masculine brings love and creation. The feminine too. The feminine brings love, comfort, and also co-creates. When you see people destroying nature, nature still keeps bringing vegetation. It continues. You can put your land and fill this up. Oh, with cement. But what's going to happen? The work of the Holy Spirit, which is the feminine part of yin and yang, of the Creator, of the divine, which means the word God in its fullness, it doesn't encompass the masculine, but rather the feminine together. It's law of balance. So what does it bring? Even in the cement, it brings life. That little grass always grows in the middle of the concrete because it's the action of the Holy Spirit fighting against what we started to destroy a long time ago. Because it has mercy. Because it has love. What father is there? What mother is there? That no matter how much your son or daughter may be people with not the best character, not very nice, do you want the worst for your child? It's like the movie The Shack. Are you going to condemn your children? You don't have the heart to do it because it's your child. You believe in their change. It's exactly this God that I'm talking about to you. This God knows that we're going to make mistakes. But He is here waiting for the children. No, my child will get better. No, my child will have another incarnation, will learn one more little thing. You're going to need 10,000 in incarnation? Go on, let him. I'm here. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to wait for him until the end. There's no way. This is true unconditional love. Let's move on to the next one. When we take the first step in search of our evolution as a soul, it paves the way to us. We understand that everything is provided as a way of learning and evolving our being. And now you who possess this knowledge always choose to walk and evolve along the paths of light. We see Jesus as a brother, a being of light, and because of that, some works and visions of planetary hierarchies. See him as a great ruler of this planet. These visions are passed through Theosophy and the great universal white brotherhood, which is an egregora of light associated with the white color of peace and the white flame of spiritual ascension. Because, in the end, white is the symbolism of purity, peace, and evolution. Exactly. I hope that everything I'm saying to you today touches your heart, touches your being, and that you realize that Jesus came here. He is already a godfather of this planet because he said, no, I have so much compassion, I have so much, right? Within the white brotherhood, Jesus began working with Master Ananda, who is from the red ray, okay? He did a wonderful job within the thresholds, rescuing people, rescuing souls that were lost there. And he doesn't care at all if he's there in the middle of limbo, if he's among addicts, among the attached, he didn't care. I'm going to recommend a series called The Chosen, which talks about the story of Jesus. Watch it, folks. Watch it, because this series explains a lot about Jesus. You will notice that many times a leprous person, all stinky, Jesus would heal. And then the person would say, no, hug me, because I smell bad, because I'm this, because I'm dirty. No, 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 no. And Jesus said, no, come here, come. And he would give that hug with love, not caring that the person smelled. Sometimes I go out for a walk here by the beach, since I live close to the beach, and one time I met a wanderer. Someone was playing an instrument. It sounded like a flute. I don't even know what it was. And he started to play. I even danced there with him. There were other people with me, and we just stayed in that moment. Me and two other people talking about spirituality while walking. We were doing it, right? To go out and do our meditations there on the beach. And I like to walk at night. I'm a night person, and I hugged him. Of course, I had to get home and take a shower, but I showed him affection. These days, notice how many people you try to hug, and they pull away and try to escape. These are people who have never received affection since childhood. The world really needs a lot of love, a lot of compassion. There are a lot of people in this limbo, a lot of people in this threshold without love, thinking that they don't deserve it, that they're not worthy. Oh, because I made mistakes, I'm not worthy. How many said that to Jesus? But I'm not worthy because I was a prostitute. Oh, because I was a thief. Oh, because I was this. Oh, because I was that. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy. And Jesus said to them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What did you do? What matters is what you're going to do from now on. I come to wash. I come to cleanse your sins. Sins, mistakes, okay, people? Mistakes. So from the moment you want to correct your mistakes, when you want to become a better person, for sure you're vibrating in the energy of God. You're seeking elevation. You're, in a way, even if unconsciously, seeking God. You're looking for the divinity that exists within you because you want to improve. You are seeking elevation. You are in some way, even if unconsciously, seeking God. You're seeking the divinity that exists within you because you want to improve. Well, for today, in this video, this is the first chapter, and for the next ones, we will be exploring in greater detail the profound teachings of the Beatitudes as taught by Jesus. I'm going to recommend it to you. This book here, The Beatitudes of Christ, Ars Aurora. For those in Brazil, it will be much easier. Here in Portugal, here in Europe, it's more difficult. But I highly recommend this book to you all because it was while studying it that I tried to get in touch with the author. So far, he might not have seen it. Spectacular, spectacular. It's based on this that I'm doing the classes here for you to share this great teaching. I am grateful. I am grateful to the universe for the life of this author because his book is wonderful. Maybe he's not a very well-known person. But I make a point to come here and talk to you all. I recommend the book, and I will leave information in the description box about where you can buy the book, so you can do some exercises that I will also be sharing here. So, wait for me, because this week we will have more videos here, and soon. We will also have our channel in English, so that the entire network, not just Brazilians and Portuguese, can watch the videos of the teachings I will be sharing here. And soon we will come out with the videos in English, so that not only Brazilians and Portuguese can watch the videos of the teachings I will be sharing here, and soon we will come out with the videos in English. Also, so that we can expand this knowledge, expand this wisdom to everyone. And I will leave my legacy here, my mission fulfilled on this earth. Thank you all for being here. I thank the universe for the opportunity given to us to be here with you for another day. And may God keep us, protect us, and illuminate all our paths. So be it, and so it shall be done.